So this is a cousin of mine. We share the same last name, spelled differently, but we are the same bloodline as far as first generational cousins. I wanted to know, did our last names come from Europeans who had invaded America and made us work on plantations? That's what most people think, right? I went down, and I said, let's compare DNA. So I saw that they had 8% Central Scotland and Northern Ireland. I had none of it. Saw that they had 12% Northeast England. I had none of it. Saw that they had East Midlands. They had 5%. I had none of it. I have Cornwall, Northwestern Germany, and Ireland in two spots. But we did share Southern Wales. We did share Southern Wales. So the first thing that I thought was that maybe this is how our DNA matches. Maybe this is how we happen to have the same bloodline through a white slave owner, and we just happen to have this DNA that makes this last name. Could be, could be not. I'm not sure. But the last name early, right? A lot of Europeans in Mississippi have it. It's a variant way of spelling it. Now, I can't identify whether or not that's true. I can't identify that. But that's just one way of finding out if you do have DNA and the name comes from a past slave owner. I have many different contradictions concerning last names and where they come from and what they mean. I also think that it shouldn't require you to change your name if that were the case, right? That it did come from a slave owner. The reason I say that is because the origin of language, the origin of letters, the origin of words, they all are Phoenician. They all are Phoenician. So, and just if you have a name, right? Because everybody has a right to a name. The names are essentially yours if you're a person who is of Phoenician origin. They're your names. Okay? So I have to do a little bit more research on how this is. Because that 2% of Wales can be the contrast of whether you want to change your name or whether you want to keep it. Okay? Me, I thought about changing my name a few times. Thought about changing my name a few times. The reason I wanted to change my name is because I wanted a more Aborigine name. I wanted a name that was more Amazonian. I wanted a name that was more jungle. I wanted a name that was more hunter-gatherer. I don't like the idea of having a name that traces me back to a plantation. I don't like it. Because I don't know how we got the last name. I don't know What the pressure was behind it, the political affairs, I don't know. This is why, like, essentially throughout my life, I've always held an alias. I've always held an alias. Okay? So that's one way of looking at it, right? That's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking at it. Great peace, Yakoki.